Hello everyone! Sorry for this taking so long, but welcome back to the second round of the CCC. And this time, these are the final results, except, well, we'll get back to that later. But yeah, let's start off immediately with the BSC Arrow, which is the lowest on the board for the cars that made it to the second round. Yes. Nearly nothing special to say about it. It's very normal feeling, quite easy. I don't know how I almost flipped it there, but I guess too aggressive. But it's fine. You gotta push these cars if you actually want to go faster. But I guess I was pushing too much because these runs were hell to do on this track. The cars really don't like those low downforce corners. Next, the Neep Cup car by Bibli. Yeah, I thought it handled great, but it finished surprisingly low, which is probably due to its style ring rating of only a 5, which isn't that bad, but you do actually need to finish quite well if you want to, yeah, have a good, decent finish with such a low styling rating. But it's fine, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, really nothing special. It feels okay. It's actually quite fast if you look at the spreadsheet, but yeah. It's fine, I guess. Really one of the most fine feeling cars and one of the easiest here to get around the track. Especially, you'll see what about that later. Next, half restored rally car by X, Sneaky Sim X, which I for some reason forgot to include in the last video. This time it shows up. Yeah. Well, it's not very good. It's all over the place. Nearly undrivable. I think the reason why it didn't show up last time was probably because I forgot to drive it after I gave up on doing a lap and just completely forgot to put it on the Excel sheet and stuff. And yeah, you'll see here, this was the closest I got to a clean run, and even with that I still hit a wall and went flying. Don't know how it didn't lose more time from that, and the suspension felt fine, so it's cool. Next, the Queenie Vendetta GTC by Danny Coptero. Really, this car can be summarized by just one sentence, especially on this track with all the acceleration zones and low speed stuff. And it's terrible diff, terrible corner exit. If this car had a better diff, I think it would be a significantly better car. But it doesn't, so it's not, unfortunately. But yeah, the handling it itself is okay, nothing really special, but yeah, it's just really that corner exit which is not good. Really suffers from it. Yeah, personally think, yeah, this would be a midfield car if it wasn't for that. Next, the Fenland Concord Apex T. I was supposed to drive a normal Apex, but I deleted the other one accidentally, so I drove this instead, and might have actually been for the better. Sure, it wasn't very fast, but it was very nice to drive, very drivable. The engine felt perfect for this track, next to the last track, which, yeah, just didn't have enough power. But it's perfect here with all the corner exits, very easy to manage. And the handling is also near perfect for it, because it's incredibly easy to manage. It's probably the best way to just explain this car. Easy to manage, but its potential isn't great. You can see from its lap time, it's actually slower than the Resto, which hit the wall. Next, the Wagyu by Ringu, which, yeah, again, nothing special to say about this car. It was actually decently fast here, but still, it suffers from not having much going on, really. That's sort of it. It's not amazing. It suffers from not great corner entry, not great corner exit, not great power. Sort of suffers from everything, but it's not terrible, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be this high up. So, yeah, it's decent. Just could be better, I guess. Faster, bigger, stronger. Next, the Patriot by Hyperborean, which massively underperformed here, I'd say. Really couldn't keep up with the other cars here. Seems too big and heavy for this track. Yeah, could be a bit difficult to control. Drove the cars a while back, so I may be wrong, but just doesn't have the pure pace of the other cars here. It's probably due to its size, as I said before. I mean, you're probably not going to bring a huge truck to a such a small circuit, which, yeah, you would of course not do. And this shows what would happen if you did. Sure, it's at a 103.4, but that doesn't really say much. Next, the Gutsatsu Project Big Fast, which is the second huge car in a row. And it's set about the same car, 103.1, same car? No, same time, 103.3, which, yeah, not great, but it's okay. This car did not finish, or no, this car did not drive very well, really, really not well. It's all over the place. It's extremely indirect. Steering is terrible on this track. It's just, the big van doesn't work on such a small track, essentially. But I never really stated that it would be driving on such a low-speed track anyway, so it's probably my own fault. But it does show you need to actually be ready for anything. Next, the Armament Link by Prime Moss. Yeah, nothing really special. Sort of really easy to drive, just get you around the track easily. Would have probably used this for reconnaissance car if I hadn't already used something else, but yeah, quite normal. And yeah, diesel works, I guess. Some nice torque. It just doesn't have a lot of pure power, I'd say. And yeah, what do I have to say about this? It's very normal feeling. I did do a bit of a rally there, although yeah. I'm not Colin McRae, so I almost spun there. Yeah. Next, the Mori Tiger GT4 by Scintilla. Yeah, same what I said last time. Very easy, very nice. Gets on the track easily. Sure, it's a bit more difficult this time due to the low speed and, you know, less downforce makes these cars more difficult to drive a lot of the time. But it's a reasonable experience. Nothing super special or anything, but it's okay. Yeah, not much else to say about it. Did take that corner very nicely though. Could have probably taken it faster. Do realize that the diff suffers a bit at the low speeds and with wheel spin and such. May have had to actually put off traction control in this car. Actually, that's something I had to do with a lot of cars, because the traction control on this track was terrible. Really terrible. Next, the Better Deals Colony Seared by me. Wow. It's me. I feel bad for the people who got beaten by Better Deals, to be honest. I should probably not enter one again just in case this ever happens again. But yeah, the car doesn't handle very well. It did beat a lot of people on this track because it's very agile at low speed, but it has so much wheel spin that it becomes nearly undrivable when coming out of a corner. I mean, look at that. Even with a great diff, the tires just can't handle it. I mean, I think it has 10 or 11-inch wheels, which it's literally built on a mini body with a gigantic V6 turbo. Just logically doesn't work. Next, the Tarska CM416 GT4 by Danny Contero. Yeah, same what I said about it last time. Very balanced, very nimble. Sure, maybe a bit less balanced this time, but that's about with every car here. Just very difficult to tune for such a low speed and such a high speed. Makes sense. Again, my fault for not saying that we're going to do such a low speed thing. Yeah, me drifting a bit there. Probably lost me some time. But, yeah, I don't think it really mattered. The car felt okay. As you see me looking at the other side of the floor. You know, I still don't get why that happens. I think it has to do with the camera being positioned at the center of the car for some reason, due to a bug. Next, the Mara Asteri 2.0 Group A. Please tell me if I'm saying that right, because I'm not sure if I did say that last time. Yeah, this was actually my reconnaissance car, and I drove it a lot. I really enjoy it. Just, yeah, some torque steer issues, I'd say, and it doesn't have the best turning. But it's okay. Really well balanced, super easy to drive. Yeah, that's sort of it. Guess I could use some more downforce though. Probably in the front. But, yeah, nothing special. Oh yeah, the gearing. The gearing isn't great. Gearing is way too long. Unnecessarily long. Yeah, sort of it about this car. It's sort of average. Next, the Epoch M10 Ansem. Is it Ansem? I'm gonna say Ansem. RSA GT4 by Macella. I'll say Macella. Yeah, this car suffers a bit more from oversteer and wheel spin on this track. I mean, you can see me having to make a lot of corrections and driving like it's a Formula Drift car, which I assure you it's not, or at least I don't think it is. But yeah, it's quite decent. It's decently fast. So sure, doesn't really feel like a road car, even though because it looks like that. But yeah, it's decent. Normal. I would just possibly put some thinner front tires on it or something else to prevent all that oversteer. Next, the Mars Bullet. My own car again. And I just missed out on the top 10, which is disappointing. But it's fine, I guess. Same issues as the last car, I would say. Just more extreme. It's so crazy direct that I kept oversteering and drifting all over the place. So I guess that's what happens when you don't test your own car before it. But yeah, it's okay. Just a bit difficult. And you can see me doing burnout all over the place because the traction control essentially didn't do anything. Which is boring. I mean, not boring. It's just bad. The devs really need to do something about the traction control for automation cars because it often really sucks. Next, the Galant Mini AU Sport Truck by no, it's IDK 158, not IDK 8185. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's decent. Probably one of the better driving cars here. At least it's one of the most easy to drive cars here because it really doesn't pose much of a challenge. You just gotta get around the track and you'll probably end up with a good time. Has some good brakes, nice acceleration, very stable, great mid-corner speeds, everything really. Sure, it could, of course, you have used some carbon ceramic brakes, but not necessary. Brakes are fine. Pretty sure I actually went on 2 wheels in that corner, don't know how, but yeah, decent car. Next, the Scrunky Dripply, and I'm still going to say that I really don't enjoy driving this car. It's just not fun. It breaks my arms, but I guess it's the punishment for being slow with videos and Better Deals. Which makes sense because he recently had to drive that Better Deals for 46 minutes straight. I feel sorry for you, man. I'll give something in return. Next. Oh wait, why do I say next? No, the engine is blowing up. Yeah. I think this might actually be faster on controller if you have the right brake control. It's just so dangerous to drive for me that I just can't set a fast time in it. Next, the Clari Surpre GT4 by Vento. I think what I complained about the brakes last time about this car primarily has to do with the ABS because sometimes it's like the brakes just wouldn't activate, especially in that one super sharp hairpin. You can see it here very well. Really struggles. Yes, the brakes aren't very powerful in themselves, but it's especially useless when the ABS stops working and just completely deactivates the brakes. Not ideal, I'd say. But yeah, car's decent next to that. Quite nice to drive. Just possibly too long gearing and the brakes. That's all I have to say. Next, the Chadley Coupe, which had a 1 minute flat 0.0. Yeah, this is even more death trap than it was before. I mean, the amount of times I flipped this thing and did a 360 in that super high speed corner is not even funny, and it made me suffer a lot. I really didn't enjoy it, to be honest. But yeah, you just death trap in every single way. So much wheel spin, extreme burnout all over the place, way too much power, likes to flip, oversteers. I don't know how it was so fast though. I guess that's what happens when you put too much pure pace in a car, but it's not very drivable. Next, the Delfinida Project Rapid by Ascalfafa. Okay, as you see a floor shot. Again, the 0-0 camera, I hate that. Yeah, understeer doesn't really affect it at the speed it seems. Looks like it probably just had too much rear downforce at the last track. But yeah, doesn't really affect it here, so it's fast, 59.5. First time under a minute, I think we see today. Yeah, just nice. Nothing special. Sure, could be better in a lot of ways, but not in. I can't specifically pinpoint it. Probably has to do with its it's a bit oversteery, as you can see there. Which probably just has yeah, I don't know, to be honest. The suspension tuning could be better. That's probably the main problem. Next, DCMW5 Beaver, not the DMCW, the DCMW. Yeah, quite nice, just a bit oversteery. Oh. Yeah, just a bit oversteery. Nothing really else wrong with it. It just suffers from probably not enough downforce on this track, or too much front downforce. Yeah, I just say it sort of suffers a bit with the mechanical grip, but which it really didn't on the last track. And the gearing could be shorter. Not really an issue though. Feels nice, and I enjoy driving it. I'll probably drive it again. Maybe I'll even re-export it with the new gearbox stuff and fix the car myself if you allow it. Next, the Cabbage GFS GT4. Oversteer, that's all there's really to say about it. It's all over the place. And yeah, that's it. Not much else to say. It's like the Granola, but even more death trap. But that probably holds it back a lot. If you probably made the front tires a bit thinner, it would make it a lot more drivable. Or made the rear suspension a bit harder. I would say a combination of both would work best. Man, maybe even a better diff if you feel like it. But not really necessary. It's really up to you, not my car. If you ever want to fix it, that's my advice. Next, the Hyone M2.Concept GT4, which actually set the second fastest time, but only finished 4th overall due to its mediocre results in the first round. Yeah, just a bit difficult, as I said last time too. Very all over the place. A lot of ground scraping. Has a lot of pure pace though. Was a bit easier to drive here. Still, it's most definitely not perfect. Probably primarily needs some more rear downforce and possibly some slightly different suspension tuning. Maybe a bit harder, maybe a bit softer. I'd say experiment with it a bit. It's worth it. I really do think this car has a lot of potentials. It's just very difficult, and yeah, the ground scraping really hurts it, but that's most likely a bug. Next, again by Shimmo, the Merc 729 GT4R, which, yeah, really cool. 30 overall, so yeah. Once again, the engine sort of holds it back. This might have actually been second or first, maybe, even if it had a better engine, but it doesn't. So that's probably the main problem. If you like, you can resend the car to me with a V8 or something if you if you want to see it show up again, just in as when I forget to post a clip or something. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. Really nice. Nothing really wrong with it, just the engine. Underpowered. Yeah. Next, the Exilium Vulcan Concept, which is technically first at the moment because it's at a tie with the Granola. Which is why I earlier said that I wasn't... no, these weren't technically the final results, because we're going to have a tiebreaker right after this video. So, look forward to that. But this car, still incredibly perfect. Just, yeah, especially in that corner there, it's missing a lot of front downforce. But it's very agile, gets around the track very easily. Like it's, yeah, really easily, like it's nothing. One of the easiest cars to drive, and I'll definitely drive it again. Just, it's missing the downforce, really, the front downforce specifically. If that's just the one thing I would change about this car, make it a bit more direct. And then the Granola Turismo 4, once again, which set the fastest time. Yeah, it's really all over the place on this track. Actually, no, it's just at the limit of the tires, I'd say. The suspension, extremely difficult to drive, but once you get the hang of it, it's so fast that it doesn't even matter. Could have probably set a faster time. I mean, just looking at the acceleration time, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. That's brutally fast for a car from 2007. Yes, it may be a race car, but that's still brutally fast. And yeah, really not much else to say about this car. It's just near perfect. And we'll see a side-by-side with the Hyone in a bit. Yeah, there. Just so you can see the difference. As you can see, the Hyone is a lot more stable, at least through this section of the track, than the Granola. May actually be ahead for a bit, can't really tell. But You can tell the second the Granola hits the straight, it just completely destroys the Hione. No chance. Then coming into the corner, the Hione seems a bit in front, but then of course you're coming onto the straight, and then the Granola is so fast you can't even keep up. And then yeah, similar line. You can see them going very similar lines, but the Granola is just so fast on the straights that doesn't really matter. The Hione did get pretty close. I gave it a few runs, but just wasn't good enough. Just, yeah, you can see the gap just already at that last corner, and then you're coming onto the straight, and you can see the huge speed difference. Yeah, no wonder they won, or at least they're in first currently. So, that was the second round, technically the final one, but we're going to have a tiebreaker, so look forward to that, either later tonight or tomorrow. But congrats. I do know Schimmel is at least third. So the next one we'll see Trouble 2X versus Nocturne on a single lap on Spa. And I spent like half an hour driving them, which probably overkill, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, look forward to it. Don't know if it'll come out tonight or not, but thanks for watching. Once again, I apologize for the slow videos. A lot of stuff been going on, a lot of personal issues. But I won't get into it. Don't worry about me. I'll just speed it up again. And the next challenge should arrive soon. We've been discussing stuff, and I've got some special surprises coming too. So yeah, look forward to it. See you everyone. Full results in the description and such. Goodbye.